I need to tell you something that might save your most important relationships. Right now, someone you care about has stopped talking to you. Not because they're busy. Not because they forgot. But because something broke. And if you don't understand what happened, you'll lose them forever. This isn't about being a better communicator. This isn't about learning fancy techniques. This is about understanding why people shut down completely. Why they build walls so high that no words can climb over them. And most importantly, how faith and real experience can tear those walls down. Let me ask you something. Have you ever tried to explain yourself to someone who just won't listen? You're pouring your heart out, choosing every word carefully, and they're just staring at you with blank eyes. Or worse, they're nodding along but you know nothing is getting through. That's not a communication problem. That's a wound. When communication stops, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow death. First, conversations get shorter. Then they become surface level. Small talk about weather and schedules. Then even that fades away. Until one day you realize you're living with a stranger. Working with someone you don't know. Related to someone who feels miles away. Here's what most people get wrong. They think silence means someone doesn't care anymore. That's almost never true. Silence means someone cared so much that the pain of trying became unbearable. They didn't stop talking because they stopped loving. They stopped talking because every word felt like reopening a wound that never healed. Let me share something personal. I've watched marriages crumble not because people fought, but because they stopped fighting. I've seen families torn apart not by arguments, but by the absence of them. The silence became so comfortable, so normal, that breaking it felt impossible. That's the real danger. When silence becomes your new language. So what causes this breakdown? What makes someone who used to share everything suddenly share nothing? It starts with repeated disappointment. You open up about something important and get dismissed. You share your feelings and hear that you're overreacting. You ask for help and get criticized instead. Each time this happens, a brick gets added to the wall. Then comes the second layer. Misunderstanding. You say one thing and they hear something completely different. You mean well but your words land wrong. You're trying to connect but somehow you're pushing further apart. After enough of these moments, you start to wonder if it's even worth trying anymore. The third layer is the most painful. Betrayal of trust. Maybe you shared something in confidence and it got used against you. Maybe you were vulnerable and got mocked. Maybe you asked for support and got judgment instead. This is where the wall becomes nearly impenetrable. Because now it's not just about being misunderstood. It's about safety. But here's where faith enters the picture. And I'm not talking about blind faith or religious platitudes. I'm talking about the kind of faith that says this person is worth the effort even when everything feels hopeless. The kind of faith that believes healing is possible even when you can't see how. This is where transformation begins. Faith gives you patience when logic says give up. It helps you see the person behind the wall instead of just the wall itself. It reminds you that this silence isn't the end of the story. It's just a chapter. A painful one, yes. But not the final one. Faith whispers that breakthrough is possible even when breakthrough seems impossible. Now let's talk about experience. Not just any experience, but the kind that teaches you what actually works. Theory is useless here. You need battle-tested strategies. Methods that have actually rebuilt broken bridges. Approaches that have melted walls that seemed permanent. The first experience-based truth is this. You cannot talk your way through a communication wound. You have to act your way through it. Words created the problem. More words won't solve it. You need consistent, loving action over time. Small gestures that prove you're safe. Moments that demonstrate you've changed. Behaviors that show you understand. Second truth. You must acknowledge the wound before you can heal it. This means getting specific. Not saying "I'm sorry if I hurt you." That's weak. That's deflection. You need to say "I'm sorry I dismissed your feelings when you told me about your job stress. I'm sorry I made that joke about your weight at the party. I'm sorry I chose my phone over our conversation." Specific acknowledgement shows you actually understand what went wrong. Third truth. Healing requires vulnerability from both sides. The person who built the wall needs to risk getting hurt again. The person outside the wall needs to risk being rejected. Neither of these is easy. Both are necessary. This is where faith and experience work together. Faith gives you courage to be vulnerable. Experience tells you how to do it safely. Let me give you a concrete example. I knew a father and son who hadn't had a real conversation in 5 years. They lived in the same house. Ate meals together. But never talked about anything real. The son had built massive walls after years of criticism and comparison to his older brother. The father didn't even realize what had done. The breakthrough came when the father stopped trying to fix things with words. Instead, he started showing up differently. He attended his son's gaming tournaments without offering advice. He asked questions and actually listened to the answers. He stopped comparing. He stopped criticizing. He just showed up, consistently, with genuine interest. It took 6 months. 6 months of the son testing whether this change was real. 6 months of the father proving through action that had learned something. Then one night, during a car ride home from a tournament, the son started talking. Really talking. About his fears, his dreams, his pain. The wall didn't come down all at once. But it started cracking. This is what faith and experience together look like in practice. Faith kept the father trying when nothing seemed to change. Experience taught him that actions speak louder than explanations. The combination created space for healing that words alone never could. Now let's address the hardest part. What if you're the one who built the wall? What if you're the one who stopped communicating? Here's what you need to know. Your wall made sense when you built it. It protected you. It kept you safe from more hurt. But now it's also keeping out the good stuff. The connection you actually want. The love you are starving for. The understanding you desperately need. Taking down your wall doesn't mean pretending the hurt never happened. It doesn't mean making yourself vulnerable to the same pain again. It means being wise about how you rebuild. It means communicating your boundaries clearly. It means giving people a chance to show they've learned, while protecting yourself if they haven't. The role of faith here is trusting that you can handle whatever comes next. You survived the original hurt. You're stronger now. You have more wisdom. You can set better boundaries. You can walk away if needed. Faith isn't about blind trust in others. It's about trust in your own resilience. Trust that you'll be okay either way. Experience teaches you to watch for patterns, not just promises. Anyone can say they've changed. Experience helps you recognize when change is real. Real change shows up consistently over time. Real change happens in small moments, not just big declarations. Real change means different behavior, not just different words. Here's another crucial insight. Sometimes communication stops because you're speaking different languages. I don't mean English versus Spanish. I mean emotional languages. Some people show love through actions. Others through words. Some through time spent together. Others through gifts or physical touch. When you're speaking different languages, even your best efforts at connection miss the mark. Faith helps you learn someone else's language even when it's not natural to you. It motivates you to express love in ways that matter to them, not just ways that are easy for you. Experience teaches you what their language actually is. You learn to recognize their signals. You understand what fills their tank. You discover what makes them feel truly heard and valued. Let me share another real example. I watched a couple on the brink of divorce. The wife felt completely neglected. The husband felt completely unappreciated. She needed quality time and deep conversation. He showed love through providing and fixing problems. She thought he didn't care because he was always working. He thought she didn't value him because she always seemed dissatisfied. The breakthrough came when they both realized they were loving each other in their own languages, not each other's languages. He started scheduling date nights and putting his phone away during dinner. She started acknowledging his efforts and expressing gratitude for his provision. Neither felt natural at first. But faith in the relationship kept them trying. Experience taught them what actually worked. Within 3 months, everything changed. Not because they learned fancy communication techniques, but because they started speaking each other's languages. They started showing up in ways that actually mattered to the other person. The walls came down because both felt truly seen and valued for the first time in years. Now let's talk about the spiritual dimension. When communication stops, it's often because we've lost sight of something bigger than ourselves. We get trapped in our own perspective, our own hurt, our own need to be right. Faith reconnects us to something larger. It reminds us that relationships are sacred. That connection matters more than being right. That love requires sacrifice. This doesn't mean becoming a doormat. It doesn't mean accepting abuse or mistreatment. It means approaching broken communication with humility and grace. It means recognizing that you're both flawed humans trying your best. It means extending the same mercy you hope to receive. This spiritual perspective transforms how you approach healing. Experience adds practical wisdom to this spiritual foundation. It teaches you that timing matters. You can't force breakthrough. You can't demand someone lower their walls on your schedule. Healing happens in seasons. Your job is to remain faithful through the winter, trusting that spring will come. Your job is to keep showing up, keep trying, keep believing, even when you can't see progress. Here's something most people never consider. Sometimes communication stops because the relationship needs to evolve. Maybe you've outgrown old patterns. Maybe what worked before doesn't work anymore. Maybe you need a new foundation. Faith helps you see this as opportunity, not failure. Experience gives you tools to rebuild something stronger than what you had before. I've seen this in parent-child relationships especially. Parents who try to communicate with adult children the same way they did when those children were young. It doesn't work. The child has grown. The relationship needs to grow too. Faith helps parents release control and embrace a new dynamic. Experience teaches them how to relate as adult to adult, not parent to child. The same applies to friendships, marriages, work relationships. All relationships must evolve or die. When communication stops, it might be your relationship's way of saying we need something different now. Faith gives you courage to explore what different might look like. Experience guides you toward what actually works in this new season. Let me give you some practical steps. First, stop trying to fix everything immediately. Urgency often makes things worse. Take a breath. Pray if that's your practice. Meditate. Get centered. Approach the situation from a place of calm strength, not desperate anxiety. This alone changes the energy of your attempts at reconnection. Second, identify your part in the breakdown. Even if you think you're only 10% responsible, own that 10% fully. Don't minimize it. Don't justify it. Don't follow it with "but you did this." Just own your part cleanly and completely. This creates space for the other person to own theirs. This is where healing actually begins. Third, demonstrate change through consistent action. If you were dismissive, start really listening. If you were critical, start finding things to appreciate. If you were absent, start showing up. Do this without expectation of immediate results. Do it because it's right. Do it because it's who you want to be. Let the results take care of themselves. Fourth, create safe spaces for communication. This might mean suggesting a walk instead of sitting face to face. It might mean writing a letter instead of having a conversation. It might mean having a mediator or counselor present. Experience teaches you that environment matters. Some conversations need neutral territory. Some need privacy. Some need structure. Pay attention to what creates safety. Fifth, be patient with the process. Walls that took years to build won't come down in a day. There will be setbacks. There will be moments of progress followed by moments of regression. This is normal. This is part of healing. Faith sustains you through these ups and downs. Experience tells you they're temporary. Keep going. Keep believing. Keep showing up. Here's the final truth I need you to understand. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, the other person isn't ready. They're not ready to lower their walls. They're not ready to try again. They're not ready to heal. This doesn't mean you failed. It means healing happens on different timelines for different people. Your job is to remain open, to keep your heart soft, to be ready when they're ready. Faith helps you release control of outcomes. You can't force someone to communicate. You can't make someone heal. You can only control your own actions, your own heart, your own readiness. Experience teaches you that sometimes the most loving thing is giving someone space. Letting them know you're there when they're ready. Then actually being there, whenever that might be. I've seen relationships restored after decades of silence. I've seen walls come down that seemed permanent. I've seen people who swore they'd never speak again become closer than ever before. It's possible. It's always possible. But it requires faith to believe in that possibility. And it requires experience to navigate the path toward it. So here's my challenge to you. Think about that relationship where communication has stopped. That person behind the wall. That silence that's eating at you. What's one small action you can take today? Not a grand gesture. Not a long explanation. Just one small, concrete action that demonstrates change. Do that. Then do another tomorrow. And another the day after. Build a bridge one brick at a time. Remember, broken communication doesn't mean broken forever. It means broken right now. And right now can change. With faith in what's possible. With experience guiding your steps. With consistent, loving action over time. Those walls can come down. That silence can break. That connection can be restored. It won't be easy. It won't be quick. But it will be worth it. Because on the other side of those walls is someone worth fighting for. And that someone might just be waiting for you to show them it's safe to try again.